Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark, the only late-night movie show on YouTube worth giving a shit about. Tonight, of course, is the culmination of the year of movies. The Oscars is finally upon us, and the only Oscar that mattered. Yeah, we fucking won that, folks. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about mentally unhinged individuals being played by a con man and a whole hell of a lot more. It is Hollywood After Dark, folks. As always, hold on to your butts, hit the like button, and let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. The Academy Awards are over. And I don't know. I was asleep for like the last hour of them. What can I say? I took a nap as it's screwing. I gotta get my rest in if I'm gonna do a show tonight. That's how little I generally care about the Oscars. But I really do think that the one that mattered to me specifically, quite frankly, is the one that won. And that's okay, folks. That's okay. I think everyone is going to be watching tonight for different reasons. Obviously, people are happy or people upset for different things. But quite frankly, again, the only one in my mind that mattered was Brendan Fraser, and he won. So there you go on that one, folks. Because obviously it means exactly what I put in the thumbnail. Your move, Warner Brothers Discovery. Your move. You guys have got to figure out how to do this. You guys have got to figure out how to make Batgirl a reality going forward. And I know, oh my God, it's Batgirl. Don't even bother sullying the name of the Oscars. The fuck, who gives a shit? Look, the Oscars in general are just a way for Hollywood studios to glad hand each other and decide who put more money into the marketing for your consideration campaign. That's what they really are. Okay. And if you don't believe me, I worked for the goddamn company that provides the flowers to the Oscars a decade ago. But still, it's like, believe me when I tell you, this is just a way for them to celebrate each other. All right. Roger Deakins, famed cinematographer Roger Deakins, came out and was all like, yeah, the best cinematography of the year got snubbed. And that was Greg Fraser's work on The Batman. And that got snubbed because of, snobbery. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It took Deakins years to get recognized as best cinematographer because he is the GOAT right now. And because it's just all political. Now, like I said, the one that mattered to me was obviously Brendan Fraser because of what happened to him with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, because of what happened to him in his career, because of the Renaissance, whatever you want to call it. That's why it matters. To other people, Everything Everywhere All at Once winning is definitely the big thing. But again, it's to me, that's just another movie, right? To me, I haven't seen it yet, so there's no cultural significance on my part. And I don't even think the Whale was a good movie, but he was clearly the best part of that movie. That's what matters to me, is to see a person who has been kicked down by the studio system, come back in a way and actually claw his way back up to the top. And that's the great thing to see. You know what I'm saying there? So that's why it matters to me. And also, as a fan of DC and been a supporter of wanting to see the Batgirl come on out, obviously that's another factor as well. So there's a lot going on there. Tales from the Hood here asking, can we now get Son-in-Law 2? I mean, he only had a cameo in the holiday party sequence as the Chiquita Banana Man. So maybe, sure, why not? Why not? I've got to watch Everything Everywhere. Yeah, I know. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's bad, but I've heard mostly that it's good. I have a lot of other stuff to watch. I just have not had the time. Even The Last of Us finale was tonight. I had to take a nap. It's today's daylight savings time. If you guys don't know, which you probably do, and those days are always the worst. I went out and ran errands today, and I came across 3 different car accidents. And I'm like, yeah, that's a result of daylight savings. That's just my take on that one, So obviously, Rational here says Batgirl has as much of a chance of releasing as the Ayer cut. That's not entirely true. I really do believe that they're not going to be able to walk away from the success that like could potentially be around that, right? That could potentially be around that movie. Brendan himself will make that movie profitable. Brendan himself will make that movie enough of a curiosity to get involved, especially if Keaton is well received in The Flash in a few months. Like that's kind of the whole point, right? It really does. If The Flash does gangbusters, which I think that it probably will, and it ends up a lot of that is Keaton, and people want more Keaton. They got a Keaton movie they got a Keaton Batman movie sitting on the fucking back burner, right? The villain of that movie is the best actor winner this last year. So now it's looking at them like, yo, we got this fucking movie. His star is at a place where it's never been fucking higher. All right. It's never been fucking higher. And as a result of that, like, this is what they got to do. The Ayer cut look, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, and I mean this truly, the Ayer cut is never going to see the light of day, mostly because of Margot Robbie. Mostly because of Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, and this is before James Gunn took over. Margot Robbie is such an important player at Warner Brothers. They have such a good relationship with her that they don't want to put that movie out. The Ayer cut shows so much more happening to Harley Quinn, and that kind of intimate female physical violence or whatever the fuck it is not going to go over well in our current society. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'd love to see the Ayer cut. If I were Gunn, I'd find a way to put it out there, right? But no, it's a lot of it has to do with placating Margot Robbie. That's my opinion of it. Batgirl's something that's totally fucking different. Let's see. Rational here for 5. Thank you, buddy. Says, now that the dust is settled, do you agree that the one with Jet Li is the best multiverse film? I do think that the one with Jet Li is a good movie. I do agree that the one with Jet Li is a good movie. I mean, look at the cast. Jet Li, Carla Gugino, Jason Statham, Delroy Lindo. It's got a good cast of characters in that. Anyway. So there's, I mean, I definitely haven't seen the one in a long time, but it was a lot of fun. And I do need to watch Everything Everywhere. And congratulations on that, winning all the awards that it did. I saw people bitching about Jamie Lee Curtis winning Best Supporting. Apparently, like, Angela Bassett was throwing some shady ass side eye and whatever. And I'm like, look, man, fucking Wakanda Forever. I do think that, like, again, I haven't seen Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere, but I do think that Angela Bassett did an amazing job in Wakanda Forever. She was one of the highlights of the movie. I thought the movie was boring. It was a funeral, but like that, she was good. She was really good in that movie. But again, I mean, like, Everything Everywhere swept hard. And a lot of people pretty much figured that. What I thought was funny was in the Hollywood Reporter the other day, there was an article written by an Academy voter who was like sucking the dick of Elvis like crazy. Just absolutely. He was like shitting on Everything Everywhere All at Once and like just dick riding fucking Elvis and whatnot. And now that I think about it, it's probably someone from Warner Brothers doing that there. To me, this is really funny though. So anyway, here Gavin here says, I think all 4 actor categories were deserved. Yeah, man. Like, I'm not going to disagree with that one. Simon here says Brendan Fraser, Oscar won, Black Adam 2. Actually, there is a clip I want to play here. Again, and here's the thing, Ralph, get ready to roll your eyes. I'm going to shit on Dwayne The Rock Johnson for a hot moment because the motherfucker deserves it for this shit that he says right here. All right. Like, literally deserves it. It's really funny because, like, I gotta say, congrats to the guy for running with it the way that he does. But my fucking God, this question, he gets asked about Black Adam and Henry Cavill, and I just have to laugh at this because, like, he fucking makes one of the worst fucking the response was a fucking lie. The response was a fucking lie, is what it was. All right, the response was a goddamn lie. That's exactly what it was. Okay, let's talk about this. So we're gonna watch it, and I'm gonna tell you that it's professional. You can see the vein in his head going like, "Fuck, I gotta answer another goddamn question about this shit." But you can tell he knows how to spin it, but it's also provably bullshit.
Henry Cavill, you brought him back, but now they're saying he's not playing Superman. What do you say to that? Um, you know, all that I could do and that we could do when we were making Black Adam was to put our best foot forward, surround ourselves with the best people, and then also deliver the best movie we could. Our audience score was in the 90s. Critics, took a couple of shots. That's just the business of it, though. But I think it's almost like when you have a pro football team and your quarterback wins championships, the head coach wins championships, and you have a new owner. And the new owner comes in, says, not my coach, not my quarterback. I'm going to go with somebody new.
Henry Cavill.
See, the reason why that's bullshit, all right, the reason why that bullshit. Now, I will admit that the question is effed up. I will admit that. Like, I don't know why, even after all this time, Variety would have asked that. Like, usually this guy asks better questions. All right. But what's funny about that is he makes a weird NFL, comparison. All right. Like, you got a quarterback that's winning championships. You got the coach that's winning championships. New owner comes in, gets rid of both of them. All right. Here's the thing with that, right? David Zaslav took ownership of Warner Brothers Discovery in April of last year. The final run-in, lead-in for the release of Black Adam was under a new regime. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took the moments of a power vacuum following the cancellation of Batgirl when Hamada was on his way out the fucking door to make a power grab to get Henry Cavill approved for a cameo in fucking Black Adam. He did that in September of last year. All right. With only a few weeks until the movie itself came out. Chose to shoot his shot. Ended up getting it. Went around the head of DC Films. Went to the heads of the studio. The heads of the studio were able to make it work. And it came out, and the movie did not do anything greater than what Dwayne Johnson movies normally do. And I've proven that time and time and time and time and time again. And then they chose to go a direction that has stability and a plan. And that just happened to not include what the previous people were up to. It's not like a new owner comes on in and decides to get rid of it. It was like, it's so dumb. The owner was already there. The owner allowed you to do your thing. You shot your shot. You missed the fucking field goal and you didn't end up wowing the people. You know what I mean? It's the stupidest fucking thing. Look, I get it. I understand where he's talking about. It's just so stupid. No, it was all bullshit. What are you talking about? The new DC regime had nothing to fucking do with any of the bullshit. The new DC regime had nothing to do with Henry Cavill and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson not continuing forward. They were brought in. They had nothing to do with that. So trying to make that claim doesn't even fucking apply. It doesn't even fucking apply. It's like, I'm not even talking. I know he's trying to talk about Gunn, but it's a bullshit comparison. It's an absolute bullshit comparison because it doesn't apply to that shit. They had to go around Hamada, who said no 4 years after Henry had been fired from the role, as a Hail Mary to get it done. And then in the process of all of that happening, the owner of the company said, I want to go a different direction, and opened up the new studio. So it's not. And what the fuck is he talking about with the fucking the quarterback and the coach winning these awards? We have an audience score of 90%. We won a Kids' Choice Award. The movie still underperformed with less than $400 million worldwide. I mean, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on, guys. Come on. You can't defend that bullshit line of thought right there. You can't defend it. Look, I have said that Dwayne has absolutely done a great job of marketing that movie. He literally carried it on his back. He did everything he could. The problem, though, is he also did too much and it blew up in his face. We can figure out, we can extrapolate that the San Diego Comic-Con stuff came out of his camp. That he was dropping those rumors, allegedly, in order to drum up conversations surrounding that. Because, by the way, Comic-Con was before any of this cameo shit had happened. So then, when that didn't happen, everyone was upset about that. And he was able to use that, knowing that he had helped put that out there, allegedly, in order to be able to push that narrative. And then he just got lucky. He got lucky that they delayed Black Adam from July to October, which was remember, July was its original release date. So then they ended up shuffling it because Ezra Miller and all that stuff. So then he shot his shot. He got what he wanted, and it just didn't work out. He can't blame James Gunn. I'm sorry. It's not James Gunn's fault. He can't blame it. He can't even make that comparison. It doesn't fly. It doesn't hold weight. And I'll tell you what really bothered me about this too, right? I looked this one up here, right? Brendan Davis here says, great answer about Superman and Black Adam from The Rock. Dude, Brendan I need to unfollow him. I'm just going to unfollow him right here. Brendan Davis, when it comes to The Rock, is in his fucking pocket. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. In his fucking pocket. Didn't like The Rock fly Brendan Davis's mom to New York for like the Black Adam premiere? And that's a nice gesture, but it's like, nah, dude, it's like fucking, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this fucking hand holding when it comes to Dwayne. I'm tired of it. Like there's all this hand holding when it comes to him. Nobody wants to fucking say it. Like nobody wants to say it directly to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Everyone's afraid to go like, the movie maybe wasn't very good. You know that you generally tend to tie yourself to franchises that you need them to succeed, but ultimately you're not really bringing it anymore. You're not really elevating it up anymore. Some people have called it out. Some people have said it, but it's just like the guy's got such a fucking ego. And he's a nice guy. So it's like, there's that, nobody wants to piss him off or whatever, but it's what it boils down to. So no, it's like, as far as I understand it, he flew his mom. That's what I heard. But even Brendan Davis himself, when Brendan was being flown, whether it was through comicbook.com or whomever, up to New York for the Black Adam premiere, Brendan was on Twitter wearing a Black Adam t-shirt on the plane, as well as rocking the Rock's Brahma headphones, right? The Under Armour Brahma's headphones that he got. He was a walking fucking billboard, man. Brendan Davis, fuck him at this point. All that crap is whatever, man. Let's see here. John says The Rock does not make public opinion mistakes. Gina does. Kinda, sure. Brodnier says, and studios keep hiring him and paying him, so who's the fault at the end of the day? The studios, absolutely. But even then, like his movies, he's slowed down his he's slowed down that as well. You know what I mean? So he's definitely had that, but I think it's starting to sway a little bit. So I think it's starting to sway. Yeah, I'm telling you though, it's like, look, man, we talk about fucking, one of the things I never quite cared for in the way marketing works is there's a lot of schmoozing that goes on and shit. And I think that a lot of people get caught up in it, especially in geek culture. You know what I mean? It's like the people that work for some of these sites that like they go to, they get flown out to LA all the time or flown to New York or flown overseas or whatever. There's a lot of schmoozing that happens, and you can play that game pretty damn well. When I was talking with Louis Lecca quite a bit back in the day, he would fill me in on this stuff. Like he was telling me about all the special little things that the studios do, the special screenings with open bars and everything else to get the good word of mouth going and things like that. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, man. It's kind of like, it's like Heavy Spoilers, for example, was talking about that today, where, he was sent a screener of The Last of Us season finale. And so his video, breaking it down can be ready to go as soon as the episode finishes airing, right? So at like 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, he can have his video ready to go. And then he joked that it would be blocked by HBO a couple hours later, but it's like, that's part of it, right? Is like the studios understand, these companies understand that if they provide the right people, the right access, right? They'll get what they want ultimately, which is positive or favorable coverage. I'm not saying they're buying it, but there's influence there, right? If you get something for free, you're largely, or early or whatever, you're largely going to be more favorable, especially if you're not in the system itself. If you're not in the circle, in the bubble, in regards to everything. It's really true. There's a lot of manipulation that goes on. It is, but it makes you feel a certain way. What can I say? And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a gigantic fan of all that crap. Now, I do agree with Rational here, 100%. The media does need to stop badgering Dwayne about the Black Adam situation. I agree. Let the guy move on, like 100%. Right? Like 100% let the guy move on. John here says The Rock will switch to producer. He's better at being a producer. See, here's the thing with that as well. He didn't really do much to promote Shazam. As far as I understand it, I don't even know, is he still a producer on Shazam 2? I mean, the kids in Shazam, their very first time meeting Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he was a producer on their film, was at Comic-Con this last summer when they were doing the dual thing of all that, right? Like, to me, that was really, really, really funny. So we obviously, yeah. So, okay. All right. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah. So apparently Dwayne had talked about, Brendan Davis's mom, and she's a big fan. And so there's that right there. Okay. Yeah, again, I get it. I'm just like, whatever with it, man. Thank you for that, Isaac. I appreciate that. All right. So, Mr. Toker here says Dave Bautista is by far a superior actor compared to The Rock. Not even close. Dave's performance in Knock at the Cabin is light years ahead of anything The Rock has done. Fuck The Rock. I mean, yeah. Bautista's good. I wouldn't say fuck The Rock. There's some fun stuff that he does. I just really feel like he doesn't challenge himself anymore. I feel like this is kind of where he's at. Let's see. Rodney says that's a lot of media outlets. The Ringer Podcast Network talked about getting the season finale episode last week. Yeah, it's true. I get emails a lot for like smaller films that like no one's ever heard of. And I haven't watched them yet. Again, I don't have time to watch anything I do want to watch. So it's kind of hard to do that and everything else. Let's see here. Anthony asking, what are the chances of Universal calling Brendan Fraser to do another Mummy movie? I mean, I think it's possible that we might see something. We might see something happening with that, right? We might see something Universal wanting to move forward. I have a feeling Warner Brothers Discovery, Pam Abdi, Mike DeLuca are going to be calling up Brendan tomorrow, not about Batgirl, but like anything else that he may want to do. They want to keep him in the family because he does work on Doom Patrol. So he is within that family. A24 obviously is probably going to want to like figure out another project or whatever. I mean, they did very well today. My expectation for even A24 is that they're going to be looked at to be acquired by someone major. My money is on Apple. I think Apple is probably going to maybe sweep on that one. It just seems to make the most amount of sense. But A24, I mean, dude, fuck, they're going to have a hell of a year. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. We could get Encino Man 2. Who knows? We could get George of the Jungle 2. George gets out of a midlife, how George got his groove back, apparently. Command Unit here for 2. Thank you, buddy. He says, I only watched The Rock and Corey in the House. Was he in that? Corey in the House? Didn't that kid get busted for like doing something? I forget, man. I don't watch any of those Disney TV shows. I don't watch none of that stuff. But anyway, let's see here. Samir here, thank you, says Puss in Boots 554 million worldwide, Ant-Man 447, Black Adam 392. Yeah, and Puss in Boots is clearly the better movie. So let's actually, here, let's talk about Guillermo winning for best animated feature. And if there's controversy after that as well, I don't know if you guys are fully aware of that there's been some controversy floating to the top of everything. Let me see if I could find a relevant image here to bring up Again, I didn't watch any of the Oscars as they were live. I just caught the updates on social media, as did so many other people. However, I do expect the what's it called? The audience rating, the viewership to go up, right? I do believe that we are going to get a viewership bump because people were curious about whether or not there was going to be another slap, right? Whether or not there was going to be another another situation like that happening. But let me see if I could find it here. I'm trying to find something with Guillermo in it. I don't know. I can't find discussing. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we got Guillermo here giving a very impassioned speech about animation is cinema. Animation is not a genre. Animation is ready to be taken to the next step. Keep animation in the conversation. Guillermo del Toro, very passionate, a very passionate speech about the art that goes into animation and everything else like that. And then of course, apparently, immediately following this in regards to everything. And this is why I think it's pretty funny. So apparently, like, immediately following this impassioned speech, people got triggered because the next thing that they showed was apparently the Little Mermaid trailer, right? But you have an impassioned speech about the wonders and the beauty and the significance and the importance of animation, only to be followed by the Little fucking Mermaid trailer on ABC, apparently. Now, this was funny, and I'm just going to say, because RJ tweeted about it, he was saying that it was unethical. He was saying it was unethical for Disney to do this, that it was unethical for them to drop this poster, to drop this trailer, everything else. Right? It's like, Samir, like, exactly. I don't understand why this is a controversy. People were legit upset about this. People were upset, apparently, that because Disney dropped this trailer, all right, that it's undercutting animation. Disney undercuts its own animation. I know everyone is pissed off at fucking HBO Max for killing animated shows and then yeeting them from existence for at least a little while until they can sell them to another freaking outlet. But Disney is all like, hey, you all like cartoon shows like that talk about like, unique and interesting stuff, and we have unique and interesting characters. Yeah. Fuck those shows. Owl House, DuckTales, a few other shows that just got summarily just taken out back and killed early, all because like they were trying to find a way to make it work between Disney XD, Disney Junior, and Disney Plus, but Disney, bastion of animation and shit. Right. That's what it is. Now, Anthony here says, I mean, the movie is 2 months away. They got to promote it. Yeah, no, whole 100%. Right. Like 100%. Completely agree with you right there. I do. I completely agree with you. They absolutely need to sort it out, right? They absolutely need to, to promote the movie. I think it looks like ass, to be fair, but here, we'll take a look at this. We'll watch this together. We'll suffer through this together. The Little Mermaid. Let's see how it is. Let's see if they take my stream down, but we'll find out.
All hands on deck! Abandon ship!
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them. Ariel! Don't!
child. I can help you. You can't live in that world unless you become a human yourself.
Is that even possible?
That's what I live for.
Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
I don't know where, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. Watching, you'll see. Someday I'll be part of your.
He's a human. You're a mermaid.
That doesn't make us enemies.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Hallie can sing. Hell yeah, she can. 100%. I don't know why that does not look great to me. It looks bland. It looks bland. I don't know. It looks bland. You know, I mean, I'll fully admit that I'm a Melissa McCarthy fan. And even that, like, she's like, you know, playing Ursula and she doesn't have like a smoker's rasp. You know, oh, darling, this is what I live for. You poor unfortunate soul. So sad. So true. I like, no, man. What? She's got the look, but like not the voice, and the laugh just sounds like Melissa McCarthy. Like it just sounds like Melissa McCarthy. Go watch it again, Samir. Have fun. Go and knock yourself out, man. Laughs like, come on. Oh, shush, 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 shush. Her dad is Javier Bardem. He's not white. LOL. I mean, that's the controversy static. There you go, buddy. There you go. Matt here says, it looks fine to me. The only point that matters is that kids will love it. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, man. Like I said on Twitter, I'm like, all right, I'll just wait for Disney Plus. I'm not going to rush out to go see it. It's a Memorial Day weekend opening. Aladdin did well Memorial Day weekend. You know, we'll have to see how this one does. I have a feeling it will definitely pull in people. And I hope it's good. I just think the trailer is not. It just looks, the thing is, this is the thing. If you're going to like remake a classic, at least, I don't know, do something maybe a little different with it. You know, if you're, cause like, yes, pardon. Sorry. Did not mean to burp. But when you watch this stuff, you're like, yeah, it's like, I've seen it. I can go pull up the fucking 30-year-old movie and it looks amazing in 4K. It's been like the restoration on it's been great. You can just watch that and it's like the same experience. Nothing about that looked exceptionally good to me. Right? Like for some reason I got Pirates of the Caribbean 5 vibes. Like this feels like it's a sequel to Pirates 5. Like, oh, that's what happened to Javier Bardem after the end of that movie. He became King Trident. It just, yeah, it is what it is there. Agent Josh here says certified Disney Plus. It kind of feels that way, to be fair. It does kind of feel that way. But again, like, look, now we've got a solid look at it. I'll fully admit the soundtrack is fire. Okay. I think the soundtrack is great. She can sing, sounds really good. I'm okay with that. Awkwafina as Scuttle. Okay. That's the problem. Like people like Melissa McCarthy and Awkwafina, they just kind of keep playing the same role, you know, unless they get into a dramatic role. When they get into a dramatic role, they can end up doing it a little bit differently. And I think that's kind of the problem here is that they're kind of being typecast for these roles, you know? And then you've got Sebastian. I mean, Sebastian, they wanted to look like a crab. It's definitely off-putting. Like Sebastian's my favorite part of the original. Sebastian's many people's favorite parts of the original. And having a crab that looks like a real crab is just it's like that gets into some weird shit. So, it's gonna be it's gonna be very interesting to see what's happening. Just wait till you see Eric's parents in the movie. I haven't seen the parents. Why? What's going on with them? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on. Anthony asking, is Snow White coming out this year? I don't think so. Have they even started filming Snow White? Like, I have no idea. Let's see. The original didn't even make 200 million, and this movie cost that much. Well, I mean, there's a difference though in 1989, right? There's a difference in 1989 earnings versus 2023. We have to kind of understand. I'm not saying like adjusted for inflation, but I mean just like strictly the amount of people in the world, and how technology itself has advanced in many ways. Let's see. Rational here says, if the Oscars want better viewership, they need a better host like Kevin Smith who can light up a room. See, here's the thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's a safe bet. Right? Like, they already know that a lot of freaking conservatives aren't going to watch it because the viewership is terrible. Jimmy Kimmel does pretty well with Midwestern liberals as well, and the people on the coast, like, oh, it's Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Oscars. This is going to be like largely non-confrontational, maybe a few jabs at the former Orange Cheeto in chief. You know what I mean? Like, it's just whatever. I'm not too worried about that. Like, Kimmel, he's safe. He's just safe, which is really sad because Kimmel used to be fucking edgy. Like Kimmel used to be edgy and shit. I just think like he got comfortable. And I get it. I understand. It's easy to get comfortable doing that gig for 20 years, sitting behind a desk going like, so tell me about whatever movie you're working on. Beforehand, it was all like, girls bouncing on trampolines, the Man Show from the 90s. Oh my God. I feel like Jimmy kind of lost it, to be fair. And then Adam just like, went full on like right wing. So there's that, unfortunately. Never meet your heroes. I never met those guys, but anyway, they weren't my heroes either. But no, Jimmy's an easy bet. I think Kevin Smith would have been good, but he would have made like way too many pot jokes, man. He would have been like, all right, guys, let me tell you about the time I smoked weed with Bruce Willis on the set of Cop Out, man. It was fucking crazy. He was terrible, but like that was a good part. Something like that. But no, I agree. Like he can command control of a room. Like Chris Rock is safe, right? The last time the Oscars took a chance on anyone really out of the bubble was in 2013, 10 years ago with Seth MacFarlane. That was a good show. He actually like did a lot. They did a song called I Saw Your Boobs. I mean, it was kind of raunchier, edgier humor, and like people really liked it. But then of course what you had was all of the Twitter woke scolds coming out of the caves and emerging into the sunlight to call it like this was terrible. It was disgusting. How can Seth MacFarlane sully the Oscars? Fuck them. They got to go back to having fun. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just too fucking cynical at this point. I don't look forward to like the Oscars. I look forward to like laughing at things that go wrong. But this was a mid Oscars. Like nothing really happened. And that's okay. That's okay actually. Right? But you know what was blowing up? I did a YouTube short a couple days ago about Will Smith boycotting Chris Rock's special and whatever, right? And that short is like getting closer to like fucking 40,000 views. It shot up today as a result of that. It's like, all right, cool. I'll take it. Anyway, Anthony here says the Oscars have never been the fun award show. Yeah, that's true. The MTV Movie Awards is pretty fun. I went to that back in 2008. I had a good time. I was a seat filler. That was fun. But really it's just like, again, a lot of that stuff is just pretty fucking terrible. Ryan here says overall the night felt safe. He did ask why the Academy didn't nominate James Cameron for Best Director and assumed that it was because he was a woman. Oh, that's ouch. That's bad. That's bad. I mean, like, that's crazy. Blessinger says, I mean, he doesn't have to watch it. Well, I mean, if you're talking about me, it's like, I didn't watch it. I just caught the updates on social media. Like literally I fell asleep. I was playing The Outer Worlds And then I'm like, oh, I got to do a show. And daylight savings like fucked me up. So I'm going to take a quick nap and wake up and come talk about it for a while, you know? So let's see. McLeod here says Kimmel's interactions and jokes with Malala and Colin Farrell during the Oscars is cringe as fuck. Yeah, I saw something about that. I saw something about the conversation about with Malala. What did he say? I've got the let me try to find the message. I saw that in like it was sent to me. It was pretty cringe. Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's see here. Let's bring this up. Yeah. This is pretty bad.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you here, and congratulations on your movie. This question is from Joanne Nicolaitis in Brooklyn, New York. She asks, your work on human rights and education for women and children is an inspiration. As the youngest Nobel Prize winner in history, I was wondering, do you think Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine?
I only talk about peace.
That's, you know what? That's why you're Malala and nobody else is.
So for one, that joke is exceptionally badly written. And it was something, because you guys got to understand, like all of this shit is all done. It's all previously rehearsed, right? It's all rehearsed. It's all written. It's all corporate approved. Everything is a script. Everything is on point. So him telling her that joke and then her going like, I only talk about peace. That was written for her. That wasn't like a quip she comes back with. It's the biggest problem with shows like this. And it's really any kind of reality show. And this is what you have to look at the Oscars. It's basically a reality show. It's highly produced. There's staff writers. There's a whole bunch of different cameras. They are looking for any reaction they can get their hands on. It's very produced. And it has to be. 20 some odd million people are watching live. And then it's going to be talked about for the next couple days. 100%. This is all written. Right? This is all written. This is all done ahead of time. It's just terrible. It was a shit joke. It was cringe. I agree with Ambassadorial Wing here. Billy Crystal was the best Oscars host ever. Everyone else pales in comparison. That's why he did it like 4 times in a row. He was great. Samir says Cocaine Bear was at the Oscars. I saw that. I did see a screenshot of that. Yeah. Let's see. Religus here says, is condescending American attitude to foreigners? I mean, is there anything else that happens with America? We're pretty condescending. Let's see. McLeod says, and you want Kimmel to be edgy again? I think the guy is way past that now. It's beyond pathetic. I mean, again, he's a corporate bootlicker. He's a corporate bootlicker. You know what I mean? Okay. Here, King of Golden State says, did they produce the slap? No, they didn't. But sometimes magic happens. All right. Sometimes magic happens. And I know people out there might disagree. What are you talking about? How is that magic? That's not magic. That's fucking, you go fucking, wait, no, it was magic. As far as things go in regards to making something so hilarious, so utterly hilarious that it gets talked about a year later. That's what the slap did. All right. Like, that's all it is. It's like the slap was something that like came out of nowhere. They weren't expecting it. That was a wrench in the gears. But my fucking God, did it work. Just the pure hypocrisy of it, right? Just the pure hypocrisy of Will Smith, get my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Smack, right? Open hand, just like open palm smack Chris Rock in the face, right? It doesn't matter. There's different angles of it. Everybody sees it, right? It's in 4K, UHD streamed globally, universally, whatever. And then Will Smith wins. He wins. And motherfucker goes up there and gives the most like a speech that is so lacking self-awareness in that moment in time that it's hysterical. It's perfect television. It is a cavalcade of catastrophes that warrants one of the most talked about moments of all time, and one that will be referenced for all time. It doesn't matter now how much the Academy is all like, we have a crisis negotiation team on, like they have a crisis team on standby at the Oscars in case of something else happening. That's what they did. They had a case. They had a crisis team on standby in case something happened. But everything was so locked down. Everything was so was manufactured. I mean, it was as safe as humanly possible. But you're never going to recreate the fucking albatross and the jet engine. You know what I mean? Just like you would not expect it. Just takes the plane out. I mean, it was beautiful for that. What bugs me about the slap, though, and I still feel this way, is I still feel that Will Smith, like, largely was pretty glad hand protected by everybody that night. Because he wins the award, he gives that speech, and then he goes and he fucking parties the night away. You know, he parties the night away like nothing happened. And that's the thing, is the industry just like, they're like, well, they just let it happen. They just let it be like that. And it's funny. It is just funny. You know, so yeah, like Tony here makes a good point. Let's not forget about Will Smith laughing hard at the joke moments before. Oh no, he absolutely was, until he got the look, and then that look forced him to go up there and do something. You know, so that's kind of the whole point. Toker here says the slap gave a temporary boost in interest back to the Oscars that was having declining numbers. I'm sure this year's viewership is up from last year. Oh no, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Anthony here, great. You know what? Here's the thing with that, man. They should get Trump to host the Oscars. I agree. I absolutely agree. You say, like, here's the thing. Do I like Donald Trump? No, I'm very open about that. But I will fully admit the guy knows how to hold a room. The guy knows how to command attention. Just like, it would be great. You know what they need to do just to piss off the flyover states is get Obama to host the Oscars. Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock last year. I can't do an Obama. Goddamn, that was a hit. Speaking of hits, because you know he would do that. He would say something like that. Oh, that's a hit. And speaking of hits, everything. Man, I would love it. I look. I love the way Obama talks, man. Obama when he's off mic or when he's off the cuff, he's a funny motherfucker, dude. I think Obama would be great hosting the Oscars. For one, you would piss off so many people. But at the same time, they would watch it, right? They would watch it. And it's I'll tell you, I want to show you guys a clip from a movie. And this is exactly why. You know, we were talking a bit about the a bit the other day about how, you know, look at like the fandom minutes. We're kind of talking about this last night, right? And like why people watch this kind of crap and why people get involved in this kind of crap. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like a big part of it, you know, is like people get into it because of the emotions, right? Well, here's a clip from the 1997 movie Private Parts, the Howard Stern biopic. It's a great movie. But there's this part right here. This 31 seconds in my mind summarizes everything fundamentally wrong with where we find ourselves in so many things in regards to culture. Then I'm going to laugh about this. Then I'm going to completely break my own rules and be an absolute hypocrite immediately following. So get ready for that. But here, check this out.
Who listens for 18 minutes. Mm-hmm. The average Howard Stern fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given. I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Stern?
Good point. The average Stern hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
Now, the thing you guys have to remember about that is that is absolutely true. This movie is 26 years old this year. 26 years old this year. And that idea about hate watching and hate watching more of something that you really dislike is so fucking true. And when we talk about like, the Oscars and people who hate watch the Oscars because they just, whatever. I don't do none of that shit, right? I'll talk about it, but I'm going to catch the updates after the fact. When we talk about the Fandom Menace, I never watch them live. I always catch updates after the fact. But I still hate watch one individual. I'm not going to tell you guys who it is because it's not related to movie stuff. And it is in part because I do want to see the crazy shit he's going to say next, because it is leading in very much to his own downfall. And I do find that to be a Schadenfreude is a big factor. I might overdose on Schadenfreude, to be honest with you. I'll own that, but it's fucking funny. But in the meantime, it's really true. There are people out there who really fucking just want to watch people that they hate because they do want to see what they'll say next. And that, my friends, is why this shit gets as funny as it does. Because one of the things that popped up today, right? One of the things that flew over the Oscars today is this little nice banner, this nice little thing that flew over is Oscar cheer moment, Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right. So of course they couldn't let it go. Someone was paying for this. I questioned who. My money is on whoever the fuck owns Vero, because I think that guy's funding everything. That's my take on it. This kind of thing makes sense, right? It's like a year later. No one's talking. They didn't do another cheer moment, even though they probably needed the viewership. But there you go. All right. Yeah. If you know, you know. Actually, if you know, we're gonna talk about that, right? Yeah. The voyeur drama. The Sherigon's right here. The voyeur drama. So here's the thing. I want to play you guys this clip. Let me preface this clip, right? Let me set this thing up. So we know that there's been a big thing happening, right, with the Snyder fans pushing the sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix movement. We know this, right? We know through pure data that's been shown publicly, and I did show this last month on Valentine's Day when people were spamming the hashtag. Twitter yeeted it, right? They yeeted it. They shut it down. Sells ESJL to Netflix was trending at number 13 for 1 hour nationwide, then killed. Then 2 hours later, you had Sell Snyderverse to Netflix trended for 1 hour and then killed. The hashtag did not hit nationwide trending. It was only localized in the For You trending, but it did pull in several 100,000 tweets or uses of the hashtag in the span of that day. Most people spamming every couple seconds. We saw this. I was showing you guys live on air. Now, because of that mass spamming, the hashtag went nowhere. No one talked about it, right? But the people over there, I happened to just catch wind that they were streaming tonight. I happened for just random. I was getting ready to go live and I was like, okay, what are they talking about? I'll just tune in for a hot second. And what I overheard, I had to clip. Because I want you guys to understand. I want you guys to witness what I believe at this point is absolute manipulation of a person with mental impairments. I think the shit being said by Mikey Sutton is so stupid. It's like it almost comes across like just like he's gaslighting these guys. I want you to listen to this and then get ready to laugh.
And number 2 reason why DC Studios will fail, okay, is because of Skywalker the Jedi. And his campaign has eclipsed everything that they've announced, and this is objective here. I mean, have you seen gun trend like Skywalker the Jedi has? Well, like over 1 million tweets or whatever now, or something like that, or hashtag whatever.
Oh my God, Mikey! Yeah, we're almost at 1.2 billion.
There you go. You think Creature Commandos trended this much? Come on. I think I can tell you, being on the front line, Scott, because having a site like Ecosity, no DC story, anything, has come close to getting the views every time I write about you. Not even close. Not even close. Like even the bourbon I throw out there, like People don't even click on it to laugh at it anymore. It's just like when I mention your campaign, boom, goes a view. Your campaign has created more excitement than anything they're coming up with. It is a fact. I bet you all those people that are sitting on Shazam 2 are at home on Twitter hashtagging your campaign instead.
Yo, this is fucking crazy.
I think you're public enemy number one, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh, I thought about ending it there, but I'm glad I didn't.
I think this
Just
is
keep listening.
my opinion. I sound, because you're a good friend of mine, may sound biased, but I do think this is more powerful than Restore, because it has a very vivid way for Snyderverse to come back, and Forbes backed it up, dude.
So you heard that right. Mikey Sutton, geekositymag.com, thinks that sell ZSJL to Netflix is a more potent and powerful hashtag than restore the Snyderverse, which has gotten way, way more attention, way, way, way more love, and even was talked about in a number of ways. And then he says there too at the very end, and even Forbes talked about it. Forbes. Now, again, if you all remember, those of you who are here pretty frequently, one of the things I showed when I broke down Forbes talking about the sell ZSJL to Netflix, they wrote 2 articles. One was from Paul Tassi, who's kind of like their senior entertainment guy over there now, I think. And then the other one was from Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes is a Zack Snyder ball washer, 100%, right? 100%. So he's writing about this as just an op-ed piece for Forbes. Forbes pulls in roughly about 100 million unique users per month, or 100 million clicks per month is generally what the breakdown of it I was able to find. That article had like less than 60,000 views, which is a very small, minuscule percentage of all that other stuff, right? Of the total amount of people that go to Forbes.com. Forbes is not known for its entertainment coverage. Yes, you've got people like Scott Mendelson who were there for a while, who mostly were known for being massive dicks, right? Most of the time, Scott Mendelson was known for being a gigantic, annoying stick in the mud. That's why people talked about him. You had Faruqi, right? One of the Faruqi brothers, who was a contributor over there at Forbes, interviewed Ray Fisher, then got fired. And Ray Fisher, that article had to be amended, and he was fired as a result of this. But now Forbes is writing about sell Zack Snyder, whatever the fuck it is. And they're like, oh my God, Forbes is talking about it, but completely overlooking how Forbes fired one of the loudest positive voices in the Release the Snyder Cut movement for talking to Ray Fisher. That's why this shit to me is so fucking hysterical. And it is nothing more than massive, massive gaslighting. Spherical Manor says, Matt, we're going to find out we're not going to find out down the road that you and Mikey have been working together the whole time, like Kaufman. No, God, no. No. I don't like those kind of things, right? Not at all. Yes, Scott is still known for being a dick. He is. Absolutely. But I wanted to bring up one of the things Mikey said in there was talking about how every time he wrote about sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix, the views shot through the roof. Well, you figure he would probably want to do more with that, because he's really only written, I just looked up here, sell it here, right? That's it. So, Netflix buys DC project that doesn't fit James Gunn's plans, right? Talking about Dead Boy Detective, again, predates all that stuff, was already in, I think, development at the time. I don't see a thing here about, again, if they are talking about the Batman Cape Crusader being sold over to Netflix, to Amazon, which they did mention on that stream, it's not being written about in a way that mentions, the project or all. So that's it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 articles written over the span of 2 months that could potentially talk about this sort of thing. And yet that's it. And these are what's pulling in the numbers. These are what's pulling in everything. I mean, that's kind of the fun part about it is you start looking at the website and really there's not, like, again, it's just, okay, well, there you go. All right. Not much standard fare. All these other little sites are basically kind of doing the same thing. But anyway, I want to show you guys this. This is the Geekosity Mag SimilarWeb. All right. I brought this up before. But looking here at their monthly, uses, they were down November, really down in December, up again in January, and I think that was partially leading into Ant-Man. We'll have to see how things are for next month. But again, looking at everything, we can tell that that the ZSJL is not doing gangbusters, or if it is doing gangbusters for this, then that's quite frankly all that's all that's pulling in any kind of stuff anymore, quite frankly. So I just wanted to touch upon that because I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really fascinating at how crazy it is. It kind of how funny it all kind of comes together. So there's that. Yeah. Let's see. Fandom NSLs is like, that's like saying Marvel will fail because Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, I know. They're trying to, again, it's just, this is where we are when we talk about the concept of the culture war, right? When we talk about the concept of the culture war, where we are with this is very much in an interesting place because everyone is just trying to carve out their little niche and stay there, and it's very interesting to see that play out because one of the, if you look at current events, right, you had two major banks, like one collapsed today. That's not the Silicon Valley Bank. There's another bank that kind of went down. And you get Silicon Valley Bank. That's in a lot of trouble right now. And there's a lot going on with that. And so, there's been talks again, are we going to go further into a recession? But they've been talking that we've been in a recession for years and all this other kind of shit. And it's like, people are, again, like you have these world-changing financial situations and people find solace and comfort and entertainment. So those who have the emotional connection to their audience on that front are going to be able to really kind of whip them up in that specific category. So I'll be very curious to see what's going to happen. Mo here asking, will Gavin join Geeks and Gamers? No, not at all. Not at all. Underhaven here says Amazon hasn't had many L's yet in terms of big streaming projects. I like their approach the most so far, honestly. Yeah, man. Yeah. Amazon's doing great. What's so funny too is, if you were to say like they haven't had many L's and stuff, everything, this is so funny. Everything like before 2019, they had some L's around that time. They were, for some reason, they were trying to be like more period PC. They had stuff like, The Lost City, which was the unfinished F. Scott Fitzgerald novel. There was a show about like the Hollywood in the 1920s. It was actually really good. Then they also had like another F. Scott Fitzgerald, like it was Zelda. It was Christina Ricci as F. Scott Fitzgerald, like as Zelda Fitzgerald. They were really playing up that kind of shit for some reason. And then they were working on like, some Stephen King adaptations like The Dark Tower, which they're now finally doing The Dark Tower again. And then they finally had like a switch flip when they decided to go and get in with Lord of the Rings. And they started going for genre content. And The Boys really helped out, and The Wheel of Time really helped out. They tried with Carnival Row. That didn't really do much. I mean, they had the first season in 2019. The final season is running right now. It only had 2 seasons. I hear it's not very good. You had The Marvelous Miss Maisel. That ran for 5 seasons. I think that just wrapped up. Of course, you have Reacher, The Terminal List. There's a ton of shows on Amazon. And like, again, like look at The Rings of Power. The Rings of Power is just fantastic. Like tonight, for example, my girlfriend is all wanting to watch Lord of the Rings. She was actually, we were watching Fellowship over dinner, the first little bit of it at least. And she was asking me questions about like, wait, because she's not in on the lore of who these guys are, so she's asking me to kind of fill her in a little bit. And I'm like, well, you should really just watch like the Rings of Power show, and you'll get a bit more information to kind of fill in the movies, and it's true. It's true. It's good stuff too. All right. Nick Winstead. Yeah. He brings up a good one. The Man in the High Castle. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Jared Deere says Rings of Power is absolute garbage. You couldn't be more wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm like a casual. I loved it. I talked to other people who were hardcore who fucking loved it. There was so much hatred around that show that people didn't give it a chance. It's so goddamn good. It's like, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a couple supers, I think, here. Right. Okay. Rational here says, get Bill Cosby and Louis C.K. to host the Oscars. Yes. Yeah. I think Louis C.K. Oh my God. If you want to see lefty Twitter breakdown, have Louis C.K. host the Oscars. They would have the most views ever. But Louis would have to open with the joke of, I promise not to masturbate in front of any of you. Something like, or like walk out on stage wearing mittens, like oven mitts. Like I promise I'm not going to masturbate in front of any of you. But if he took it on the chin, it would do gangbusters, man. It would absolutely, it would slay. It would slay so much if that was the case. Bill Cosby, no, that's just, no, no, we're good there. Command Unit here says, Caiaphas Crane quotes. Okay. Yeah. We'll get to that there towards the end. Thank you for that, buddy. Appreciate that. You found the writing alone to be horrible in the Rings of Power. Like, did you watch it? There's that. I'm not going to show the Zod Rider picture because it's the same one we've seen before. Nothing about it's different. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's the same one we've seen before. He likes to, I don't know what it was. It's kind of like, Zod Rider, I feel bad kind of making fun of because like clearly he's got issues. So there's all that. No, I mean, like, I understand that people didn't like it. I'm just saying it's like, I think people like attacking the writing on it. It just didn't really make a lot of sense because the show was, the writing on the show was like, again, like what about it didn't, I guess, was it like the dialogue? The dialogue was about on par with the fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, was it like the multiple storylines? Was it, there's so many things with that though. Right. But again, by the end of the season, I think it did really well. Speaking of Little Mermaid, how would I like to play the Howard trailer? I mean, I'm okay right now. I'm okay right now with that one. What I will do, because I'm just kind of like exhausted. The daylight savings time kind of like is kicking my ass. Plus the kids got school in the morning. So I'll tell you what we'll do. For shits and grins, we'll jump maybe a half hour, hit around midnight, call it a night, just because I have got to get to bed. Just because that's just how this shit goes, unfortunately, with everything. Taking the kids to school. They're excited. They want to go back. I'm like, yes, go back, please. All right. I'm trying to find Command Unit. Can you send me that Caiaphas thing on Discord? Because it's like I can't find it in the chat. The chat cuts itself off. So if you could send me that, that'd be great. If not, I could try to find it here in a second, though. But anyway, I mean, it was an interesting night for the Oscars. I mean, Michelle, Michelle Yeoh winning was great. The guy, I can never pronounce his name. Him winning for best supporting is great. I don't want to say short round, or Data, because I think that's like Ki Hu Kwan, whatever. I can't think of his name right now, but I don't want to like just diminish him to his role. So there's that one there. And then, all right, we got Rational for 5. Thank you. Says, now that a massive recession is inbound after the collapse of SVP in New York SB, how do you guys feel? Again, it's like, if the federal government comes in and bails out the users, like the people, then it's not going to be so bad. But we're not quite there yet, But I know I have gotten messages from people that you were DMing them stuff about this. We're not quite there yet. All right. Mr. Crescent, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Finally, our boy got the fucking Oscar. Brandon fucking Fraser. Hooah!
Yeah, no.
Finally!
Well, I
Someone
mean,
listened!
did you
Oh,
see the
man.
whale? Did you see the whale?
I saw parts of it.
You saw parts of it.
No, I saw parts of it. I saw the trailer, and there was, I saw that, but I did not see that movie. I feel bad. Once it hits streaming service or whatever I can find it, I will watch it. I do want to see that, but it was just one that I missed.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
bad about it, but I've been rooting for this guy for the whole time. It's like he's the man that does deserve it. He put everything into what he does, and he loves it. So finally, a good guy gets up there and and earns it, and it just feels fucking good. Sorry.
No. That's okay. I think in essence, part of it too boils down to the fact that it's like he's been a lot of people like him, and he got he got knocked down, and then he got up again, right? And it's just he had to kind of like work his way back up. And with him though, he chose a role that was a meaty role, and I don't just mean that like the fact that he put on like a 300-pound fat suit. I mean like the role itself is really good. There's a lot of vulnerability there with his character. There's a lot of good acting there. My girlfriend, God, she saw them. She wanted to go see it. She saw it by herself one morning, and then we had my dad and stepmom watch the kids, and we went to go see it. And then when it hit VOD, she had me get a copy of it, and she watches it like she's watched it now like 7-8 times, I think. So she just really enjoys the story. And the movie is it's based on a play. It feels like you're watching a play, but it's a really cool fly on the wall kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't leave his apartment. You really don't go anywhere other than his apartment. And it's just like, it's a really interesting approach to it. So it's not for everyone, but it's a good dramatic story.
He's kind of somewhere on the news clip, somewhere I saw it on Twitter, people stood up and gave him an applaud. I don't know what you call that.
The standing ovation?
Yes, that, yeah. As soon as that came out of nowhere, it just kind of felt like, damn, people really paid attention. His good acting now.
Well, I think, standing ovations are kind of standard, right? They're kind of standard. Like when they went to what was it? Was it Cannes or whatever it was? And there was like that standing ovation. Those are what the funny thing about that is it looks really good for headlines, but they actually do that for every movie. They actually give a standing ovation throughout the end credits for like every movie.
True, but for him, it felt really nice for it to
see. Oh yeah.
That for him, yes, it happens all the time, but for him, I'm gonna say, well done, dude.
No, it was
what more you really want to do,
Yeah, no, it was good for him to get that recognition because I think that allowed him to like kind of get the confidence to kind of come out more and people have been fans for a long time. Now, let me ask you this because I got other people that are in line, so I'm going to ask you this to get your take, and I'll let you go. But do you think that with the success of this, that Warner Brothers might be reevaluating Batgirl?
I think they're sweating their seats right now, thinking, and this is a hot take. Jesus, I don't think David Zaslav made the right move about canceling that movie after all. Not for Keaton, not for Leslie, and not
Yeah.
For our dude, Brandon. But I will say this also. I wanted to say this. With this happening, I now have high hopes we are going to get another damn Mummy movie. I want one now.
I mean,
everyone saw tonight, this guy got an Oscar. He's, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
more stuff coming.
They could do like Michelle. There was like a rumor I heard there was like the Mummy 4 with like Brendan and Michelle Yeoh. Right. But the thing is though, is like now, like the budgets, like their stock is going to go up. And so like Universal's got to figure out if it's going to be worth it for them. Because remember the last time they did the 2009 Mummy.
The Timber the Dragon Emperor. That was okay, but
it was okay. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but then they did the 2017
the bigger
reboot.
Hit was Mummy and the Mummy Returns with Imhotep. I think people like that kind of adventure style.
Sure. And
then
but
it's
that
gonna
requires
take
him to
it
bring
somewhere
back
else.
Stephen Summer. They have to bring back Stephen Summer as well.
I'm sure he's
And
ready
the
to go.
well, I would hope so. Because the thing is, like, the last movie he did for them was 2004's Van Helsing, which I really enjoyed Van Helsing. And
Oh yeah. That was a good movie.
and then after that he did 2009's G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Brendan Fraser and him and the little idiot dude. He was a scientist that taught to the kid that turns into Cobra later on. All
Oh
three of them
yeah,
were in that
Arnold
movie.
Vosloo. Yeah, he was
it
was
was
in
crazy.
it. Yeah. So
I
it's
love that
like,
movie.
you know, bring yeah, that was actually, I enjoyed G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra as well. I know maybe I'm gonna catch a lot of shit for that, but I liked it.
It's okay, but I like the first one more.
Well, that is the
Yeah.
first. The Retaliation
Yeah.
is the second one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Retaliation was like, Retaliation was actually written by Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, who did Deadpool. So like, it's weird. I mean, go back and watch it again. You can kind of see, you can kind of see that shit. But anyway, thank you very much, Christopher, for coming on in, man, and have yourself a great one. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, have a good one, buddy. Thank you very much. All right, Tony, what's going on, Tony? Tony, I see you in the chat, literally right now posting. Tony. All right, I'll get back to you on that one. Ryan, what's up, Ryan?
Hey, Matt.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I just got back from watching the Oscars, so yeah.
Did you watch it? Like, I mean, so okay, well, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, it was, like I say, it was just safe at best, but overall, I felt like there were some, well-deserved wins, Brandon Fraser especially.
Yeah.
And I think, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, what did you think of the best best animated short win?
Yeah. I had a feeling that that the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse was gonna win for that. But personally, I kind of like Icebreakers a little more.
Icebreakers was, I mean, we watched Icebreakers, and that was definitely interesting. I thought the concept was very unique. I enjoyed the ending of it. It was it's one that, I mean, it's just fascinating to watch, really.
Yeah.
So but I haven't seen the other one yet. And here's my question with that, right? So it's like Guillermo wins with the stop motion animated movie, which is great. Obviously Leica is looking at him like, you motherfucker. But I mean, but then again, comparatively speaking, like Lightyear was a fine movie, but it wasn't like anything really significant. I would argue my personal would have been the, what's it called? Puss in Boots, I think would have been, if Guillermo hadn't done Pinocchio, I think it would have probably gone to Puss in Boots.
Yeah, I think that film would have been the next runner up. So, and I think it's really satisfying seeing a stop motion animated film, getting recognition, this time around.
Yeah, no, that's definitely great. I think one of the things you have to consider about all that is just like, it was fucking, it was Netflix. It was a Netflix movie. I mean, like, it was in theaters a little bit, and that's the funny thing with Netflix is if you notice, they're really kind of inching towards full blown theatrical releases, and that's going to happen, I think.
Yeah. Whether or not it goes to theaters first or Netflix first or vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Knives Out. Knives Out came out for a couple days, pulled in 15 million. Just in the select theaters that it was in. Theaters were begging Netflix to continue the movie. They said no, and then it's like, they should have done it, I think. But, but going back to the animation side of this, I mean, do you hope that we'll see more stop motion now get the recognition it deserves and then come out?
I hope so. Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess, so here, okay. So I know we talk quite a lot, or I do quite a lot about AI, right? AI art and everything else like this. And it's very interesting, like how, where the technology is. Like, see, what's great about the Pinocchio is that it goes back to like the old school, the old school production design. I mean, granted, there's a lot of CG in Pinocchio. There's a lot of, a lot of the world around. Like Leica is really good for building all the sets. This one I saw some of the behind the scenes of Pinocchio, and there was a fair amount of CG being used. And again, I'm not going to deride that at all. I think it's all part of the process.
Oh no, yeah.
But what I'm curious about though is like, will we see something in the next couple years as this emerging art takes place that is now then going to be something that might be in the run for these kind of awards?
Well, my main hope is that if AI technology is used for a particular animated film, then I think it should be used sparingly, similar to how CGI is used sparingly. That some forms, maybe like for backgrounds, for instance, or for certain textures where the light needs to hit a certain angle in order to make it look believable.
Yeah.
But overall, I want to see like other films where other styles collide and not just one particular style.
Sure, I get that. Kind of like Into the Spider-Verse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And even Puss in Boots has that with the variable frame rates. And the feeling of like, well, Spider-Verse specifically had different animation styles, especially this new one coming out. What appears to be very different animation styles depending on which Spider-Man is there. So that should be really fascinating to see. I think if you can find a way to mix it together in a way that's going to work, like it's gonna be like, I think the mishmash of it is gonna be fascinating. Kind of like the Corridor Crew, whatever they just did, right? The whole thing of like, we just made like use AI to make an anime, and obviously anime is a colloquial term now, I think, in many ways. Potentially to perhaps like the general audience. I know it has a very specific meaning to fans, but
Well, I mean, technically speaking, they took references from Vampire Hunter D in order to get that specific look, but ultimately it was just rotoscoping at best.
It was rotoscoping, but rotoscoping has also been used. I mean, Snow White was the very first movie, the very first animated movie to win Best Animated, right?
Right.
And that had rotoscoping in it. So it's like the technology, the process is not new. It's like 100 years old almost. And so it's like, okay, cool. So people got, because I was sent a video of someone just tearing down that Corridor Crew thing. And it just felt so self-righteous and smug to me. Right. I'm listening to this guy and I'm like, it's like, I'm all like, however you want to play it, like the animations were clean. Sure, it was rotoscoping, but it was still clean. The editing was very well done. There's a lot there that was really interesting that they did on an aesthetic level that I think moves, in essence, animation forward. It's like when I said that I felt that Avatar: The Way of Water should win all the awards. Well, at least Best Picture and like all the technicals. Right. Well, okay, that's not like costuming and shit. But I say that not because I feel that the movie is the best representation of that, but I think it has the overall, it advances the cinema forward. It advances the medium forward. For some reason, the Oscars, they're very much against superhero movies, right? But superhero movies are on the cutting edge of technology in order to produce what they produce. And they do it in ways that are interesting and unique and fascinating. And yeah, they're expensive and they're kind of gaudy at times, but this is what, Avatar, the way that it crafted this movie. And it's like, you're looking at like the water effects and you're like, holy shit, how'd they do that? Right? Like it created a world for people to kind of like literally fall into, to just kind of get absorbed by. It wasn't just a movie. It was an experience. But then you look and it's like, that's like, but largely those kind of films get ignored. I mean, what I mentioned earlier with Roger Deakins talking about Greg Fraser being denied, being snubbed for the Batman, and the Batman does have some really, really awesome cinematography, and so it's like the work on those kind of movies that do operate in that space are oftentimes overlooked. And that's where it's like, I feel the Oscars loses people. And so I would prefer them to start looking to see what's advancing the industry as much as like anything else. But that's my take on it. I'm more forward thinking on that. Like, I mean, if there was ever like a found footage movie that ever made it to like the Oscars, like the best of, like something, could you imagine like Cloverfield got nominated for best fucking movie? It'd be like, okay, maybe this is going a step too far, but until then, I think we're all good. But I guess because I still got some more people that are coming on in, man. So what's any final thoughts you have?
Final thoughts. Well, it seems like the Oscars are trying out all these different tactics to get more viewership. Maybe they thought that the reason why they're not getting viewership, maybe they're not diverse enough, and they try to correct that. Hey, we got more diverse people. Why are you not paying attention? And then they try other things like trying to add like most popular film. Then there's a backlash. Oh, okay, our mistake. And then shortening the categories, that didn't seem to work. And now this year they brought back the categories. I don't know. It just seems like they're trying desperately, but they're not exactly grasping what it is people want.
Well, yeah, and I think that's because also the concept of what's popular, it's again, my take on it's this: why wasn't oh man, like what was a really good horror movie from last year, right? Like, why wasn't X nominated?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, because it's like outside of, I know like Terrifier, they did submit Terrifier 2 to the Oscars, which is a bit of a running gag within that fandom. But it's like X is a legitimately amazing movie. It's a legitimately interesting movie. It has excellent social commentary about sex and exploitation and things like that. And that's still very prevalent in our times. That hasn't gone away. And it's like it has, it was really well done, really well put together, and it was done for a very low budget, so much so that they actually shot a prequel film, like on the same set, which is great. And so it's so fascinating how that shit gets overlooked. Right. But again, that actually was really popular. So like writing that movie, I know that's why they did like Top Gun and they did Avatar. That was another thing too. It's like, oh, these are movies that people have seen. The two biggest movies of the year effectively were brought in there. And I get that, but it's like, even then it's like, don't discount horror fans. And because I've repeatedly said this, I think the two genres that are going to save movies outside of the superhero stuff are horror and anime. And ignoring that, if you want to increase the viewership, they should have like put the Demon Slayer movie up there, or whatever they put in theaters last year. What was it? What was the one that was it My Hero Academia that had a movie that come out?
Yeah,
that did really well. I mean, like just
yeah. I guess my problem with that approach is that those movies are based on pre-existing shows per se. And if you're not familiar with the shows, then you're gonna get completely lost with the movies as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like putting anime. If they would have put an anime film in the top 10 nominated Best Picture, you would have seen a massive increase in viewership and engagement. And I say that because even today, when I was out running, I see now more vehicles with anime stickers and decals. Than I see literally any other kind of fandom. I mean, and I'm talking like full. I saw another vehicle today with like almost like a full body wrap. Of I don't even know the anime. It's just, but it was anime. I'm like, there is a fandom there that is like very prevalent, and ignoring them is not going to benefit. But that's always a subject too for another day. But I do gotta let you go. We still got more people to come on in.
No problem.
But thank you very much, Ryan, and I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, before we get into that, we got a Jess here for $2. Thank you. Says people want movies they've actually seen. I think, well, yeah, again, that's why Avatar and Top Gun were in there. And they kind of went through this in 2009 as well, where they had like The Dark Knight and District 9 were nominated. But those are there. Let me see. Tony here. Tony, is your mic working?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It happens. Sometimes StreamYard the settings can get a little bit wonky.
Yeah, I had earbuds in my Jack before. I guess it's just my settings on my end. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how's it going?
It's going okay. Just kind of winding down the night. Just want to get your quick take on the Oscars.
Well, I guess this is a bit more of a follow-up, given what we were talking about with The Rock and all that, and the whole thing with Black Adams and what they did with Cavill. Do you think he was a bit of an ass for dicking him around the way he did?
I think they dicked around Henry. I don't think they dicked around Dwayne, to be fair. You know, like, I don't know what the conversations were. I'm sure we'll find out those conversations down the road, a couple years probably, but down the road a little bit, you know, about like what happened with that. I think probably like around the time that Warhammer 40K is getting ready to come out on Amazon is when we're going to finally see that. Because like Henry will be in a position of authority that he won't have to really worry about Warner Brothers at that point in time, and talk about like, you know, what's going on with all that shit. They should not have told him to come back, but it does feel, to be fair, it does feel like that was something that was done in order to boost the box office for Black Adam. I really feel that was the case. And unfortunately, that's what happened. It just didn't do what they wanted it to do. And then they were already, you got to remember, the fact that they announced James Gunn and Peter Safran the next day, that was not an instantaneous thing. Those negotiations had been going on. So whatever happened with this happened outside of that and happened before all that probably was going on, and just kind of happened to coalesce at the same time.
And then there's also The Rock taking advantage of that power vacuum.
The power vacuum, yeah. I think that's the thing people generally tend to overlook the most, is that like Hamada, who was apparently his bud, right? Like had said no, and he was on his way out the door, so he went around him. Had Hamada not been on his way out the door, it wouldn't have happened.
And do you think things would have gone as planned had Hamada not left?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I know the also idea of like, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think when Cavill was supposed to get go further than just a 5-second cameo, and then like get his own movie or something.
I'm sorry, you were kind of breaking up on mine a little bit. About the cameo. Say that one more time, please.
I know the cameo was meant to go places, but then it just wound up being just that, a cameo, didn't do dick.
Yeah, well, that was, again, it was kind of like, I would say a couple different factors with that. Like, for one, I feel it was always meant to just be the cameo, right? I think that's what it was just meant to be. They were hoping that it was going to do more. I think, well, okay, so a couple schools of thoughts on this one, right? So the original, if I recall, the original box office tracking for Black Adam was around like 75 million, right? Or like initially, and then it dropped to like 60 million, and then I think it ended up bringing in like 67.5 its opening weekend. Now, if it was dropped down to 60 and it overperformed to 67, then they could probably go, okay, does this have a lot to do with Henry Cavill, right? Because The Rock likes to reference, we had a 90% on audience score, right, on Rotten Tomatoes, which is only if you bought tickets through Fandango. It's largely bullshit marketing, you know, because only one metric is where you can get that a verified number from. And so ever since Captain Marvel 4 years ago, when they implemented that, no one has really taken the audience score super seriously. But because the movie did overperform on its first weekend, they're like, hey, you know, maybe this is something that we can get working on, provided it does better. I think if the movie would have pulled in $500 or $600 million, if it would have had those kind of legs, then I think it would have absolutely led to more. Because at that point you can't deny it. And even Zaslav himself wouldn't deny it, you know, but it didn't. And even though it was number one every week leading up to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it just simply was coming out at a time when it just didn't move the needle. And that's the biggest problem, unfortunately, is that, you know, The Rock, I think he put his best foot forward. And again, I don't hate the movie. I think, you know, it was fine. But just didn't work out for him.
and just so basically, based on the trajectory that it took, it was doomed to fail.
Yes, if it would have come out in July like they wanted it to, I think it would have been in a better position. But Ezra, you can kind of blame it on Ezra because Ezra's follies hurt that movie from coming out, right? It delayed it because they delayed Black Adam into the spot the Flash was going to take, and they ended up moving Shazam to Avatar, and then like they moved Aquaman to March, and then they moved Aquaman back to December. It's just so the whole thing's a mess, and so the domino was Ezra, and so yeah, the whole thing's crazy, but you can kind of tie it back to that.
And with The Rock, you think he'd have been a little humbled by it, but so far it's like, yeah, he's still got an egg on his face. Hasn't properly addressed it. You think? Am I right?
I think he's tired of addressing it, which is completely understandable. Like at this point, he's not working with the company. He's working on other stuff. Let him move on, that kind of thing. Variety, that was kind of a dick comment Variety did. I'll fully admit that, but I think his answer was equally bullshit. But hey, man, I got a few people to get to. I got to let you go.
Sure thing.
But thank you, Tony, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
See you later.
All right. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on. We did get a $5 from here from King Golden State. Thank you. It says Oscars will do anything to draw viewer attention except give comic films a nomination or win. Been like that forever. That would be their last resort. Well, yeah, they tried that back in 2009 with The Dark Knight. And Heath Ledger won posthumously. So yeah, like they know they need to do that. They tried with Black Panther. You guys remember Black Panther in 2017? They're like, we're going to do like the fan favorite award. And everyone's like, just give it to Black Panther. You want to. They did that. But anyway, joining me is Calvin. Calvin, hey man, first time on the show. How's it going, buddy?
Second time.
Second time? Oh, sorry, man.
We talked James Gunn DCU one time.
Oh, I apologize.
It's not like you talk to a bunch of people all the time anyway, so no worries, dude.
Well, hey, how's it going? How you doing?
It's going good. I enjoyed the Oscars today. I found what you were talking about. You're talking about AI and that leading the cutting edge in animation down the line. And I do see that happening, but I think there's going to be a lot of legal disputes that happen before that actually gets entailed, because AI is not going anywhere. I think there's always a pro and con when something like this comes out. I mean, obviously,
sure,
artists aren't happy about their work being, utilized somewhere else without their permission. But I think once the legality of all that goes, it'll be a really great tool to use in animation.
I think once you have like an asset, like a depository, right, of like when it's not utilizing what's on the internet, right? So what I mean by that is like take like Lucasfilm, for example, and they take all their assets and they just throw it into the server.
Right.
It's all there. Right. And then their server is able to then pull from that. And they already do that actually audio wise. If go back to
with the Vader stuff.
With Vader and Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker too. Yeah. I think that's going to be, if studios can 100% prove, hey, the repository of AI that we're using is coming just from our library, then 100%, that's going to be a slippery slope and maybe hard to prove. But I think once that's, kosher, everything's going to be, the sky's kind of the limit.
There. Oh, sure. I mean, like right now, like I've seen a couple AI images that like the Getty logo is like kind of slid in there, right? Gotcha. It's slid in there on some of the roles. But the thing with the AI art that I think a lot of people don't quite get is it's not perfect on the first try. So it's like you have to keep refining it. And that's where it starts to kind of take on its own little unique persona. But like I have seen other things as well where you can see like landscape photos or something along those lines, and you'll notice the artist's signature kind of very vaguely present in the background,
Interesting.
And you're like, oh yeah, that's not good.
And it's not. And fingers and hands are really hard to do too. And
dude,
and
like
I
crazy
think it's crazy, dude. But I think it's gonna be very interesting. As freaked out as people are getting about AI, if you're trying to invest in anything like I am, I would invest in tech that's going to be able to detect what has been used in said AI. There's already, algorithms in tech that can decipher if you use ChatGPT on, schoolwork or anything like that. So as exciting as things are right now, enjoy it. I think there's going to be ways to find out where this art comes from, which is going to, stipulate how people are paid going forward with this stuff.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. I think, and again, like, why the fuck would you use ChatGPT to do your homework? It's like, it ain't perfect, man. I asked it the other day to summarize an article, and it was like the Will Smith, Chris Rock one. And, Chris Rock's, the show was called Selective Outrage, right? And it kept naming it like Tambourine. And it did like 3 times.
It's because that's his last special that the AI has recognized and
okay,
knows all the images, so it's just going to spit that out.
That's all it was. And I'm just like, I'm like, that's not like what it is. And I try to correct it, and it's all like, basically it's like, no, eat a dick. It just kept doing it. So it's nowhere near perfect. Although they are saying that GPT-4 is coming out this week. And they just did the Chat GPT a few months ago in November, and here it is, and they're already talking GPT-4. So, and I think even like Bing has got their chat bot is technically GPT 3.5. So, and it still sucks at times,
there's still a long way to go before Skynet.
100%. I think for me though, what I find to be the most fascinating thing about the AI side of it is that, again, what it's going to do is it's going to allow people who do not have the ability to create art to visualize what's in their mind. And I think it's going to allow a lot of people to become more art directors. And what I would hope would be like, you could sit there and go, okay, like I used AI to craft these scenes. This is what I'm looking for. And then from there, a real artist would come on in and figure it out. But at the same time, it's like when you talk about AI usage and this kind of stuff, do you know, I mean, this is what I read. I need to go back and find the data on this, but apparently some of the 4K restorations that we see for these movies, they use they use AI to process the images. And sometimes it's good. To upscale it. And sometimes it's been pretty shitty. It just depends, but that's what they're doing with that as well. So it already has an impact in the way that we view entertainment. It's already kind of been seeping in ways that we never really thought about. If you're going to use AI to upscale these images, that's still technically like using something else.
It's an algorithm, but technically that production company would own all that material. So there's no liability there, but I 100% hear you.
I'm just saying it's fascinating.
No, it is totally. I just sent you a video on Instagram of somebody using AI in a very, very creative way. They kind of just set up their pillows and like their computer mouse as like a landscape, and then just based on pretending the computer mouse is a car, she used AI.
Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah. Let me bring this one up here. This is actually this is testing the Runway app. I can't make this full screen for some reason.
This is where I see animation, kind of going in terms of AI.
For some reason,
there's a lot of creativity here. It's
you guys can just see it. Yeah. Like this is something that's coming in from Google, I think, right?
I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the example I was talking about right now, right there, the mouse and the Tesla. This is how I think AI should be used once everything's legally cleared. This is creativity to me. This is someone with the vision trying to enhance it and push it forward instead of just typing a few things in and just saying make my movie for me. I think there's a little bit more thought that goes into this, and I hope AI is used in ways like this in the future.
I fucking bet you Wes Anderson is going to try it, and then everyone's going to be, oh, this is the best thing ever.
It kind of looks like Wes Anderson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. As soon as Wes Anderson does something, they'll be like, oh, wait, this is better than Isle of Dogs.
I mean, at the same time, I don't think you can replace like the aesthetic of stop motion, but I do see what you're saying 100%. as far as the Oscars go, the last thing I really want to say is like I'm really happy with what A24 is doing. I know you said they might get bought up by someone big like Apple, but I hope that doesn't happen for as long as possible. You know, I know Focus Features it reminds me of like a younger Focus Features. You know, they got bought up at Universal, obviously, but A24 is in a beautiful place. They've made some really unique films that have stood out from the studio system. And I think it's great. I hope they just keep going, and hope they just keep, bringing stories like everything everywhere all at once, to light.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
No, I mean, I'm happy for them. I really am. Like they've always, I've never really dove into like a lot of their movies, just because like I've seen the trailers and I'm like, yeah, okay. Like it's like the concept of the elevated horror, I'm not a big fan of. Right. Like,
you're not an Ari Aster guy? No?
Yeah. Not a huge Ari Aster fan, from what I can tell. But then again, based upon trailers, I haven't been interested, but I need to sit down and watch like Hereditary and Midsommar.
I mean, but even all the way back to Tusk, man, that was A24, Ex Machina.
I've never seen Tusk.
You've never seen?
Never
okay.
seen. I haven't seen Tusk or Yoga Hosers.
Rocky, I wouldn't be upset. You need to fucking see Rocky. But yes, everything, Tusk, even The Lich, The Lobster, Green Room, Swiss Army Man, that's how the Daniels got. It's cool to see Hollywood take on, modern original takes that aren't.
And I appreciate that 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's because as I'm trying to like figure out like audio commentary and everything else, I'm just looking at it like, I'm like, I enjoy it, but I'm like, man, like if I talk about a new movie, people haven't seen it yet, no one's really going to dive in. But then it's like there's also not that great deal of information out there yet. And then you talk about like an older movie, but then how many of those older movies have just been covered to death, right? Because every asshole and their mother has a fucking movie podcast, It just so it ends up being this weird kind of way of looking at it, trying to like think of the best way to approach it. But I think
one thing you should definitely keep in mind, Matt, is I think people go to listen to commentaries based on the person. So
they don't give a shit. Yeah,
time it does. Like if people like what you put out and like your opinion, they'll listen. So I would be open to anything, man.
That's pretty much, I think, really what it boils down to. For me, where I'm at personally is like I try to think about where I'm the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I like it's so it's like it's a weird mix for me. Like doing it by myself, I enjoy, but at the same time, I'm like, it is nice to kind of bounce off other people or bounce off a chat or kind of like get worked up. And that's always where it gets a little bit difficult to do. But hey, man,
I know you got to go, but one last thing. If you do a Rocky audio commentary, I think everyone would finally.
I got it. H Bart.
Finally, Matt, Jesus.
Yeah. He sent me the thing. The 6-pack. Of them and everything else. So I gotta watch it.
Anyway, man. Talk to you later.
Trust me, it's on my fucking list.
I know. I'm gonna keep bugging you about it until
everyone's gonna. One night I'll just be in bed, go fuck it, let's watch Rocky, and then everyone's gonna be like, you lied. I'm like, here's picture proof I watched it.
Or it'll be 100 years from now. But anyway,
I'll be dead. And like last thing I watched was Rocky. That's I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
I want you to do Adrian. I can't do it.
You don't even know what that means. All right.
I don't even. I know he loses. That's what I know.
Okay. Spoilers.
It's what? It's a fucking 40-year-old movie. All right, get the hell out of here, man. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Calvin. All right. But anyway, Rhea, for finding out where ChatGPT is chat.openai.com. That is the website. All right, we got Toker. Thank you for waiting, Toker. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I wanted to touch upon real quick because I don't think you brought it up, but we got to give a shout out and a congratulations to Sarah Polley for winning Best Adapted Screenplay for the movie Woman Talking, which admittedly I did not see, but I would hope and think you remember her from the 1999 movie Go, with her and Katie Holmes and Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, I love Go. Yeah. But I'm gonna go one step further. Ooh, notice how I did that?
Yeah.
The 1980 classic, The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen,
Oh,
or Baron Munchausen,
Oh my God,
which
really
she fundamentally hated working on. She fucking, because they recently did a 4K restoration of that.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. And someone, she was on Twitter. Someone was like, "Oh, can we buy this because like you hated working on it?" And she goes like, "Look, I hated it, but if you enjoy the movie, enjoy the movie." But I'm paraphrasing, but I was like, "That's solid. Like that's solid." You know, you can't be mad at her for saying that because she was like 12, I think.
Yeah.
She was so young working on that movie. I can completely understand. It's a big, massive. If you guys have never seen Baron Munchausen, like you are missing the fuck out. It is a weird movie. It's like I rented that movie not knowing what it was when I was a kid and going like, what am I watching? This is great. You know, like, the good old days when Terry Gilliam gave a damn.
Yes. Exactly.
You know, like that's
But
right around.
I think it's just because of the fact she's been around for so long. Good on her. Good on her.
Yeah, no, good on her for getting into directing.
Yeah.
And everything. She was in a I think it was Cronenberg did a movie in '99 called Existence with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law, and she's got a cameo in that towards the end, and I was like, oh, Sarah Polley, that's dope. You know.
Well, I will definitely have to check that one out.
Hey, wait, oh, you've never seen Oh, dude, Existence is. It came out. It came out around the time of The Matrix, like after The Matrix came out. And it's a concept, very similar concept. They go into a video game, but it's like a weird video game, and it's a crazy movie. I saw it on VHS when it came out because that was when, you know, like that's how I saw it. But I think other people have. Anyone else here seen Existence in the chat? Not that I'm seeing that right there, but it's you should check it. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I will definitely check it out. The only other thing I wanted to touch on real quick with you, because I don't want to keep you held up, and I know you probably got more people who want to get on. But I did see a couple rumblings in regards to Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
Her not winning the Oscar, and her people saying, you know, oh, she's given a shifty eye look or something like that.
I saw the image. I don't think she's going to be unprofessional, like not in the slightest.
Well,
but
not even that. But in all reality, since the dawn of the Oscars, she is just one of many different actors or actresses who have given looks of some sort of disappointment or you know, a fuck you look or something like that. It's really a nothing thing that she did. I don't even look at it as anything disrespectful. I'm sure she thought she was probably close to a lock to winning it. You know, sometimes people get upset.
I mean, I thought she was going to win it. I really did. I was looking at, you know, her performance in Wakanda Forever was really, really good. They should have run her for best actress, I think, because I think she was more of a lead than fucking Shuri was.
I mean, well, you could call me a pothead for this, man, but I honestly think her performance in Black Panther 1 was better.
Wow.
Yeah, it might be the dumbest take anybody's ever said here. Maybe not, but yeah, I mean, watching Everything Everywhere All at Once, to me that really was the best movie of the year for me.
Good. I need to watch. I will try to watch it this week if I can get my kids to like actually go to bed.
Yeah, because it is something you definitely want to sit down and watch and enjoy and experience the whole thing, I think. Because I think the entire cast through and through, everybody who won for that picture was, I think, more than deserved to having won an Oscar tonight. It's, you know, there's definitely arguments to be made for everybody else who was nominated, but man, it really is hard to go against that movie, especially some of the competition it was up against. I just think hands down it was better than the rest.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's kind of been, you know, I mean, a lot of movies, it seems recently have kind of been circulating around like the big studio stuff, right?
Yeah.
And because that's where the money's been. And so there's been this paradigm shift. But I think with Coda winning last year, for Best Picture last year was definitely like, that was Apple TV. But I think people are just now more interested in what some of the smaller films could be, and like having the solid word of mouth. Cause like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like had a really good trailer.
Yes,
and it just looked crazy. And then the movie came out and had very positive word of mouth, and it just kind of carried itself on throughout the course of the year. And that's great, and there's also been this big push for more Asian led stories in the industry. And like, that's really good. And seeing those kind of stories are, come out and everything. And it's like, you can tell that the industry is evolving, that the type of movie, which it needs to. But I think the biggest thing though, is like what we have now are, in many ways, are very risk averse studios.
Yeah.
They take chances sometimes, but because the DVD market is well, I don't want to say that the DVD market in and of itself is alive and well. Blu-rays, and especially 4K, aren't as prevalent in sales wise. So DVD still dominates. And I think a large portion of that, it has to do with the general broadband accessibility in the United States. It's my honest take on that one.
I'd agree.
So that's where people still buy these DVDs and everything. And so, but that market is still shrinking, right? It is shrinking, but it's, you're not getting these like $100 million, box, home video sales. But the thing is with that, we also never see any of the outside numbers. Like, there's no NPD numbers that come out for other markets, right? We don't get like a UK or a Canada or anything.
And I could be wrong, but I want to say back in like the VHS days, did they not track that stuff back then? Because I know VHS, back when that was a very prevalent thing, if a movie didn't do good in the theaters, most of the time it did have an extra shot at picking up a ton of extra money on VHS.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure they did do that, but with they really talked about that though, with like the DVD marketplace was really massive, but I think with VHS though, at the same time, home video sales for movies, like, that was different back then, right? Because if, like, what was it? Didn't it take like a year or something like that for like Jurassic Park to come out on home video?
Yes, a lot of them did take a while.
It took a long time for that. And then when you got them, like back when video stores, had all the VHS stuff, if you wanted to buy, people could buy a movie when it came out, right?
Sure.
But you would have
TV commercials, 1-800 numbers for them.
Oh yeah. And then the thing is though, but they'd cost like $90.
Yes, they were expensive.
The VHSs were expensive back then. And then the home video market started to explode in the I would argue more or less the mid 90s, because people could rent it. Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, the mom and pop shops, they made their money by buying the movies at retail and then just renting them out. And that's where they'd get their cash from and everything. And then you started seeing like Hollywood Video would do this, but then they would start like going, oh, now we're going to sell you the used tapes for like $10 a pop. We've already made our money back on these.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to sell them off to make way for more inventory. And that's how I bought a lot of my VHS tapes back in the day, was like, I would go and they go, oh, 2 for $10 or whatever, or buy one, get one for $5, and I'd go to Hollywood Video or Blockbuster and I'd buy some. I'd go home and I watch them,
Man,
and then with the DVD, I miss those days too. I miss like going, cause like today I'm at a store called Winco, which, what we have here in Washington. And they've got a little DVD carousel, right? And I'm looking through, and they always get a bunch of new stuff cycling through. A few weeks ago, I was there. They had the first season of Sherlock. Of Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
4K. The 4K of that for like $8 of the first season of that show. And I'm like, I should
steal if you're a fan.
If you're a fan, I found The Hangover Steelbook today for $5. All 3 Godfather films were there.
Oh,
$5 a piece. I bought the set for $50, like when it came out a couple years ago. I still haven't seen the movies yet either. Right. I'm looking through, and they've got like a bunch of movies that I'm like, damn, I should like pick this up. This is some good fucking deals, man. Like for $5 a pop and shit. Like,
yeah,
I'm like looking through, and it's just like, holy crap. Like, this is just cool. These are like older fun films that like I haven't seen in forever, you know? And it's like, but I love the secondary market. Like as much as I hate FYE, I was I was there a couple years ago, and they got mad at me because I was shooting like a wheelman inside there, and they got mad at me for it. So I went and like looked through like their used videos, and I came across Snakes on a Plane for $6. So I bought Snakes on a Plane.
Sure, that's a buy for $6.
That's a
all
buy,
day.
dude. That's a buy for 20. I fucking love Snakes on a Plane.
I don't know
Love
about
Snakes
20.
on a Plane.
I definitely pay $6 for Snakes on a Plane. I don't think I'd pay 20, but I'll give it.
It's
$6.
good. It's really good.
It's all right.
I have a good friend of mine did the animatronics for the snakes.
Come on.
So
he's
like
to blame.
So he's to blame. Yeah. He was he worked on he does animatronics in LA and whatnot and Hollywood. And so it's like he was like, I've told the story, but I'll tell it again. We're hanging out at Comic-Con, and this is in like 04, right? 04, 05. I think it was 05, because this was like right after AVP had come out, the year after. And he worked on AVP. He worked on the Predator's helmet in AVP, as well as a little baby Praline at the end.
Right,
and because he's in the book too. If you find one of like the making of book, he's in there a couple times. And so we're walking around trying to find it.
I know they still made those.
Oh no, they do. You can find a lot of those, like, you know, the visual, like there's a lot of art books for stuff out there that are, but mostly for the bigger films. So this is also mid 2000s. This is like over 16 years ago. And so I asked him, I said, "Hey, what you working on?" And he goes, "Oh, he's like, I just got done shooting like the weirdest movie." And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's Sam Jackson, and he's an FBI agent that has to transport a prisoner across the Atlantic or across the Pacific, and a whole bunch of snakes break loose on the plane." And like, we're at Comic-Con. I look at him like, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. What are you talking about? He's like, no, I'm serious. Like, it's called Snakes on a Plane. Like, I'm not even making that up. I'm like, you gotta be lying to me. No. I mean, I literally, like, we just got done with the movie. And then like, not even a year passes, and all of a sudden this trailer pops up like Sam Jackson in Snakes on a Plane. And I'm like, he wasn't fucking lying. The next time I saw him, I'm like, you weren't lying. It's like, I told you I wasn't lying. And then of course we got the movie, because his family owned the drive-in that I worked at, right? They were like the managers of that. So they got the movie. Any movie he worked on, they had. So we got Snakes on a Plane opening weekend. And so my friend and I sat down, we watched that thing like 4 times. We're just like, this movie is great. This is such a fun ass movie. Like, his brother was there watching it with us and everything. And we just all had a blast. So, I mean, and I think that's part of it too, when it comes to talking about movies and everything. It's just like, it is really about the communal experience of everything. Yes. Like, there's one time in 2003 when The Core came out. Remember The Core?
I remember The Core.
So we're at the drive. It was like 4 of us who worked at the theater. We're there watching it, and we're all sitting there smoking our cigarettes and going like, okay, so hold on. Fucking, like, they got to get to like the center of the earth. All right. How would we do that? So we're sitting there like, we're trying to talk about like fucking, like geothermic activity, and like, how could we potentially like, it's like, it was so stupid, but we're just sitting there we're just talking during this movie, but we're so enjoying the movie. It's not like riff tracks where you're just like, oh, the fucking stupid. No. My friends, we never did that. Like, we never did the riff track shit. That's why I can't stand it. I'm just not a fan. Because like, if you can't, because I think
like Mystery Science Theater.
It's fun sometimes. It largely like, if the movie is like, if it's like an older film, like Santa Claus versus the Martians or Conquers Mars, whatever that one is, right? Like something along those lines. It's like, if it's one like that where it's like, it's so old it's bad, you're like, okay, this is pretty fucking terrible. Then there's that, right? But when you're watching something like, like a newer movie and they're trying to riff on it, I'm just like, I'm like, no, because these are like, it's different. It's just like, go back in when like the technology wasn't there, but they tried to make it. It just looks like corny and shit.
Yeah.
Like the newer
guys
stuff
in rubber suits and shit.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like there's a time and a place for those kind of movies to be made fun of like that. It's why I can't stand CinemaSins.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I just can't watch it. I'm just like, you're nitpicking. I mean, I can nitpick. I can fucking nitpick like a motherfucker.
Sure, anybody can nitpick.
Yeah, like, but it's especially if I get a bee in my bonnet about something, like that's, that's the hardest thing for me. It's like, It's like if there's a bee in my bonnet on something, I just can't let it go. I just can't. I'm like, I try. It's like everyone's all like, well, you should really try to like The Last Jedi. And I'm all like, yeah. And in my brain, I'm like, yeah, okay, I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. And then I'm like, but Luke Skywalker. And then I'm like, the rage sets in.
I always think of, it brings me back to an old George Carlin quote that he used to say, I don't have pet peeves, I have psychotic fucking hatreds. And that's how it does get sometimes.
It does, yeah.
Like the most minute thing will just get you on a tangent for an hour about pretty much nothing.
That was last night on this show. Really,
Sure, yes,
that was
exactly.
I went to bed after and I'm all like, why the fuck did it go for 3 hours? And then also, why the fuck did I talk about politics so much? Because it just exhausts me.
Politics, that happens.
I mean, I like talking politics, but like it just exhausts me for the most part.
Politics is always exhausting. Politics, religion, two topics that'll just never.
This is why I like talking about cum. It's so easy.
It is.
It's sticky. It's gross, but it's there, man. It's like it's
you know what? It's always there when you need it. Sometimes it's there when you don't want it.
It's
but
true.
It's always there when you need it.
And it can always sprout life.
Yes.
And the conversation.
Yes. And you know what? It's just to tie this all in. That's why cum in movies are so great, because they both are communal. They can be shared with others. You know what I'm saying?
So are you saying that like you would be okay with like going to a packed crowded theater and watching an adult film?
Well, probably not. Not that way.
I've done it.
Have you really?
Yeah, I did.
I've never went to one of those.
It was okay. To be fair, it was not like you think, right?
It was not packed.
It was. Oh no, it was packed. It was Valentine's Day. It was packed. With couples, by the way.
Couples thing?
This wasn't like, no, what it was is there's a theater in San Diego that's no longer there called the Ken. It was a great little theater. And on Valentine's Day, this is in 2009, they showed a 3D porno, like an old 70s 3D porno.
Sure.
And my friend's like, hey, we're going to go check it out, man. You want to go? Like, get your girlfriend. Let's go see it. And like, yeah, we just started dating like 2 months ago, but all right, we need something to do tonight.
So what would have that been? Like Deep Throat or Debbie Does Dallas?
No, it wasn't anything like that. Like John Holmes was in it. I think the moral of the story,
God.
like the one girl who does anal in the movie gets drowned in a vat of Martinelli's. I think that was the moral. Like sodomy kills is what I think they were going for.
Kills. Oh.
Like that's really what it was. It was like the one, and then it was like at one point because it was 3D. Like one woman's got like a dildo, and she like starts kind of like waving it towards the camera.
Oh.
So the effect is meant to like come out of the screen. Like here's this big black dick in your face, right? And it was funny because like it was the red and blue glasses. So and the print had aged to the point of where I just took the glasses off, and I'm like, this is because the effect isn't even there, and it doesn't take away from anything. But like what I don't understand about 1970s porn, and this is just an observation that I've made, is what was going on with the diet of porn stars back in the 70s to make the freaking cum as viscous as it was. That shit was firing out there like it was fucking spectral fluid from a ghost. It was whiter than a sheet, and I don't get that. I don't know what they were doing.
Processed foods.
Is it like the lead lining on everything? Was it asbestos?
I think so, yeah.
Was it just like, let me just eat this glass shard, and then I can fire
alcohol
it
that
out.
Didn't even have the alcohol content in it. Beer that was just labeled beer.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. I'm just saying it's all that. It's just, it is what it is. Like it just is what it is on that one there. But anyway, I do need to, it's 12:30. I actually got to get going. So I got to wind this. I got one more guy. Enterprising has been back there for a while. I appreciate it. Sorry, Enterprising.
Not a problem. Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming in, Tograph. Stuff going, man. Thank you. All right. Okay. Finally tonight, Enterprising, man. Thank you for waiting. I really appreciate that.
No problem, man. How are you doing, man?
It's been a long goddamn weekend. Been a long.
Yeah.
I hate daylight savings. It fucks me up, man. It just fucks me up. I hate it.
Shoot. Look, I was late to work today because I forgot daylight savings was happening. I was like, right.
Oh, I know, man. Like I used to stay up. I went to bed last night before 2 a.m. So like I didn't because last time I was awake after 2 a.m. and I felt terrible. Well, I missed an hour of sleep. So I felt really bad for a couple of days because I had to readjust. And like the older you get, the harder it is to adjust you know? And so, but when I was younger, like I would be like, oh, Saturday night, man, fucking daylight savings. Where am I going to be at? The titty bar. Cause I'd go there a lot with my friends. And so we'd go to the strip club and I'd be out there like 2:00 in the morning. And then they'd be like, we're closing an hour early. And I'm like, that's fucking lame. Right. And then like, but it would be fall back and I'd be at the strip club and I'm like, guys, can you open an hour later? And they're like, no. Like, fuck. You know, like or I'd go to the bar on like fall back and be like, it's only 1 a.m. Fucking fire it up, man. And they're like, no, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, God damn it. No, that's like the shit from back in the day, but it's like, it's so, yeah, it screws me up, man. My kids were feeling it today and like everyone feels it. Like there's like also in the Northwest, we had like it was rain. Like just like.
Oh yeah. I'm in Las Vegas. We had our share of bipolar weather out here.
In Vegas?
Oh yeah. It was sunny for a minute. Then we had this overcast over the mountains. Then it got busted out windy, rainy. And in fact, there was like last week we had snow. It was weird.
Wow. Very
weird. You know, everyone is like, are we finally getting warm weather? And they'll be like, bet back to winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? It's weird out here. I don't know. Maybe that global warming stuff. Maybe we're experiencing day after tomorrow, some shit. I don't know, man.
You're all like, maybe, just maybe, they were onto something. Yeah, no,
So
it's
like, do I have to start rolling up paper and shoving it in my jackets and stuff? Yeah.
well, there is a
uh,
fair amount of that stuff that happens though, even when I was living in San Diego, because it is high desert. So it would be like, you go, oh yeah, it's like really, really, really this. And then all of a sudden it just becomes like the weather just comes out of nowhere. And you're like, what the hell happened? So I totally get that.
Now, as far as the Oscars was concerned, I was working. I only got highlights. But generally speaking, I'm just happy that Short Round and George of the Jungle got their Oscars. I've calling them that because that's my childhood heroes back from the day. That's why I watch the Oscars whenever I can, mostly because I grew up with Turner Classic Movies and all that old school stuff my parents watched. And then going into this year with a guy that you grew up with who was a childhood actor, quit the industry because he was typecast a lot. And so he shifted gears with his career, you know, revealing he had insecurities, he had depression and that, you know, but one day he got back into it. That's inspiring to me, especially when you're having to literally point at the camera saying you can make your dreams come true. That hit home for me.
Yeah.
Then you get, you know, Fraser, after everything he's been through, getting an Oscar, to get an Oscar was, you know, that's big. That's like The Mummy, Blast from the Past, George of the Jungle, Bedazzled. This dude, you know, Encino Man. This dude is childhood royalty to me, along with every other one, along with the Tom Cruises and Steven Spielbergs and Schwarzeneggers and all those guys. So the fact that I get to see this guy after so long finally get an award like this, I admit, man, I kind of cried a little bit for these two guys. And that's probably the only genuine reason for me to watch the Oscars for these reasons. Because to be honest, as much as I like the Oscars, they're too traditionalist. And eventually, the only way they're going to become relevant again is when more of our generation, not necessarily our generation, but the upcoming generation of actors starts getting these awards, upcoming generation of filmmakers starts getting these awards, and they start revolutionizing how they showcase it. You know, so for me, the numbers will go up when you see Jenna Ortega win an Oscar, or Timothy Chalamet, or more of the Tom Hollands, or some more of those up and coming talents come into play here. Because until that happens, and until they get that fresh new perspective where people start seeing themselves again on that award stage, it's still going to be the same old stuff. Like, okay, cool, you got who? Tom Cruise again. You got Spielberg and stuff. These are all great. We know these guys, but y'all have been giving awards to these guys for years. I need to see someone that looks like me up there. I need someone that's more like, like my nephew. If they want to care about the Oscars, it's gonna be somebody that they actually follow on TikTok nowadays. It's just that kind of thing to me, where it's still old men running this stuff, old men and some old women running this stuff. It's just that, we have a black old man running it, a black old woman, a Hispanic one. It's like, yeah, but we know these guys. They've been there, done that too. We love them. That's great. But a lot of the people that aren't watching this stuff are the people that are watching TikTok and other stuff to follow these actors and to show praise and how much they care about what they're doing. So that's my take on it in general.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you're gonna do something along those lines, you probably need to start pushing more people, like, I think they think it's like the celebrities themselves will bring in like the viewers, and honestly that was the case. But nowadays it's entirely possible.
Yeah. I feel like the Oscars still feels like everybody's watching Entertainment Tonight, and it's like, no, they ain't watching Extra anymore. They're on Twitter. I mean, they're barely on Twitter now. They're on Instagram. They're following these guys on Snapchat. They're following these guys on other platforms. You're gonna have to cater to that crowd eventually, because if you don't, you're gonna be looking at the old fossils eventually. Nobody cares about you guys praising yourselves over and over again. You're all white-haired, gray-haired, praising like, I did this, except, yeah, you're old-time thespians. We respect you, we love you. But you're like our grandparents. We visit you sometimes, but we don't want to see you every day. Unless you are really in it with your grandparents, but it's kind of like that thing. It's like, I like visiting my relatives, but I also have my own life to live. I want to see more people that look, that I associate with me and praising them up, It's got to feel like a party.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I do understand that. I think that might be what they need to change up. Now, I don't think that they need to let's say bring in make it like a streamer type situation.
Maybe not necessarily that, but I don't think they advertise the Oscars too well, and you need to make it feel like an event worth seeing. And the only way to make it feel like that is almost to make it feel like a sports show, like football or something. Like, we're rooting for these movies because these are the most popular gangbuster movies that are impactful to the industry. Now, there's always going to be that thespian, that those catered traditional type of movies. But it's movies like Lord of the Rings that got people to want to watch the Oscars. It's movies like Avatar or movies like Logan and those kind of films that's like, I want to see those movies get some awards because I enjoyed the heck out of them, You're not seeing enough that's like, I didn't watch a movie about the old, I'm not watching a new modern version of Driving Miss Daisy just to appreciate the film. Maybe I'll watch it down the line. But if I know that that's not my type of movie, or that I didn't even know about this movie until it was announced to be a nomination, it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so. But it's like, that's why it's like, I'm all for A24 because A24 is a healthy alternative to the more commercial blockbusters that we've been having. So I'm happy they're getting a lot of success with what they've been doing. But I think we need more youth, personally.
You know what? I get that. I do get that. I think one of the bigger things again is like I should say, as odd as it is to say out loud, what we have to think about here is that, population density, right? Like population just in general is like the world has doubled its population in the last 40 years. So a lot of those people, didn't, they've grown up with this stuff, but again, it's like there's been 2 billion more people brought in the last 23 years compared to the 3 billion in the 20 years before that. And so, yeah, like it is going to have to be like, obviously speaking to the different demographics. And I think that ends up being a bigger problem than not. But hey, man, I got to let you go because it is almost 1 a.m. I have got to get to bed.
Yeah, I feel you, brother.
But I appreciate you
All
waiting
right.
around. Thank you very much, man.
Yes, you too, man.
Have a good
All
one.
right.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you later, buddy. All right. This is here for two. Thank you. It says, how did Oscars treat animation right now as bad? I mean, how did they outside of the outside of the thing with Guillermo? I don't quite know, how it's any different than usual. So it's one of those scenarios where, again, it's kind of just like they also apparently didn't give Kevin Conroy an in memorandum. So, and that's something that's not good either, because they should have done that. They should have absolutely done that. So, all right, why don't the last thing we're going to look at here, this is from Command Unit. Get my tab up, or get it here ready to go. Peter Rabbit's Defender. Thank you for the $5. Matt, I was crying at the Oscars. First with Ke Huy Quan, second with the Daniels winning, third with Brendan Fraser, fourth with Michelle Yeoh, and then Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Picture. I'm happy as fuck. Congratulations. I'm glad you're happy. I haven't seen EEAAO yet, so I can't speak to its quality, but I do hear good, and I have heard bad. Well, I guess it's like one person, but there's that. So hey, good to see you, but you came in right at the very end. So thank you for that, buddy. Appreciate that. But let's take a look here at this, because again, it is the time difference is effing me up. So let's check this out here. This is Commissar Caiaphas Cain quotes.
Sorry, I prefer blondes. I thought acolytes of Khorne were supposed to be warriors, not a bunch of pansies. The non-com in charge of the squad must have been on something, I thought. Nobody spoke like that outside of badly written combat novels. Frack this, my soul's my own, and I'm keeping it. As I try to impress on the young whelps in my charge these days, it isn't the scarlet sash or the fancy hat that makes you a commissar. It's the way you wear them. The troops you serve with are never going to like you. But if you can get them to respect you, that can be almost as good. Remember, you're going to spend most of your career on the battlefield with them, and they've got all the guns. So making them think you're a liability is never going to be a very good idea. Well then, I seem to recall a pleasant little restaurant not far from here. You gotta see if it's still standing.
Okay. I literally have no idea what they were talking about, but cool. Thank you for that. Anyway, this has been a fun conversation. Everyone get some sleep. Again, the day is off. We'll be back tomorrow. Good times. And we'll see what's happening with the fallout of everything. Have yourself a great night, everybody. Thank you again, and peace the fuck out.